I have an idea. Hear me out. Allow my imagination to take you on a journey. Let's say this life is a simulation and that there are numerous dimensions in existence. Let's say that God and incarnations are real, that the multiverse exists, which is an infinite number of universes that are parallel to each other. Let's say that the Akashic records are real, which are the collection of records of all events, thoughts, feelings, and actions that have happened since the beginning of time. They are said to be stored in Akasha, a fluid ether that exists beyond the human senses. Theosophists and anthroposophists believe that the Akashic records are encoded in the mental plane and non physical plane of existence. Let's say that this planet Earth, on which we all live, is a prison planet, learning base for our souls in the aim to evolve to reach a state of nirvana at the end and to never come back to this suffering planet. That we suffer in order to evolve and grow without pain and pressure. There can't be real breakthrough or growth, as we see in nature as well as in various phenomena, such as, for instance, giving birth to a child. That there are many of these kinds of prison planets inside the billions of galaxies that exist in our observable universe. That there are other life forms in our universe, from more advanced than we are to primitive ones like bacteria on other planets. That there are similar kind of events that happen on other planets from their own evolution and history. Let's say that sometimes before we enter this planet, based on our karmic bank, we get to choose our journey, who will be our parents, what struggles we'll face in life for our souls to learn, who we will meet as our soulmates, for better or for worse, again, to keep learning. I once looked up the definition of God, and the best one that I could find was the ultimate teaching force in the universe. What other greater purpose can God have other than to teach? For our souls to elevate to higher state of consciousness. We're born on earth as part animal, part spirit. We are essentially a spirit in an animal's body. Our body has earthly needs such as food, rest, sex, and other things. Therefore, humans harbor an ego that in itself is a survival mechanism to keep moving forward. When we die, we get rid of our egos because there are no more physical needs once you become a being in a spirit form. So, taking all of this into consideration, imagine that everyone and everything that has ever existed had a purpose to play out in this divine theater of existence. As in evolution, a theory developed by Charles Darwin essentially states that biological organisms evolve based on the needs of the environment. So, from a fish like organism through much time came amphibians, then from amphibians came reptile like organisms, and the evolution wheel kept expanding forward. As an incarnation, as a spirit lives through a lower consciousness organism, they then incarnate into a being with a higher state of consciousness. So essentially, on planet Earth, the human species are the dominant consciousness. I believe that the devil is not God's rival, but rather an employee on Earth to test souls of what choice they'll make. Will they choose evil or good? That's where free will comes into play. Based on our actions in life, we are dealt the karma that we deserve. So let's say that someone like Adolf Hitler, who killed millions of people, started World War II, and committed suicide to escape earthly punishment of war crimes trial. In my opinion, he's experiencing a karmic hell that he needs to repay his karmic debt with for each evil deed that he's done. Karmic hell is when once you've done so much damage as an evil individual, you don't evolve into a higher spiritual being, but you get demoted to the lowest possible organism based on divine justice. So let's say that he incarnated to an amoeba, then died a physically painful death, to incarnate into a flea, to die a painful death, then to incarnate to a mosquito, to again die a painful death, and so on, while still keeping his memory, despite what organism he is, of all of the wrongdoing that he's done as a human, so that he's conscious of his punishment. Then, after, let's say, 10 million years, he gets to be incarnated as a human in a chaotic environment on Earth, but this time with amnesia of not remembering any of his incarnations or past lives, but still needing to repay past life karma. So he dies painful deaths to keep incarnating as a human until his past life karma is repaid and his soul gets a chance at redemption to move on to a higher spiritual plane of existence and the chance to gain enlightenment and to reach nirvana. I believe in God, but not the kind of God that smothers you with love, because that's not God's purpose, as I stated earlier. God's purpose is to teach. I also believe that God is not evil. So if the most evil of the people die, they get to go through karmic hell, like I stated earlier. That's not eternal. but is extremely painful with much suffering, with yet still having a chance at redemption. Kind of like a video game where you reach the last level and the last boss defeated you. So you need to start again from the beginning, as in lessons of life that your soul needs to learn. So take all of this into consideration as this divine game of existence, where it's a theater unfolding with all events possible, yet still maintaining a sense of choice and free will. Otherwise, it would just be movie script that's predetermined. Once our universe began with the Big Bang, expanding outward, but through the existence of some elements like black holes or dark matter, it would then possibly contract back into a single atom or a singularity, as it would be the end of this universe. Yet I imagine the universe is something like a heart that contracts and expands eternally. So at the end of the universe, all of the souls during all of the existences in this universe gather together to review the existence of our universe as a final story. Like once you read a long novel, you finally understand its purpose. All of the protagonists and antagonists gather in all of their past lives to finally gain the final answers to this game of existence. Then God is there as well, along with all of the energy and souls that had ever existed in the universe. Once that happens, there's choice to restart the game of existence with a different God who is democratically chosen by all of the souls to once again create a new novel in our game of existence. Something to think about.